Good afternoon, everyone. How are we all doing today? Are we having a thumbs up if we're having a good day so far? Fantastic, brilliant, amazing. My name's Nathan. I work for an organisation called EY. And today I'm going to be taking you through our school leaver opportunities. There will be time for questions, hopefully. So if you have any questions, do feel free to ask. And our stand, if you haven't visited us already, is just over there next to JP Morgan's. But obviously, our stand is better. They're not listening, it's fine. Okay, so just to do a bit of a sense check of the room, hands up if you've heard of EY before. Hands up if you've heard of us before. Very good. Hands up if you are interested in one of our apprenticeships. Good, good, fantastic stuff. Okay, so let's take you through who we are as an organisation. So next slide, please. So we are what we call a professional services company, and we have 21 offices in the UK. So we've got our furthest north office is in Inverness, and our furthest southern office is in Bristol. And we've got 2 offices in London, one in London Bridge and one in Canary Wharf. We have 18,000 people that work for us at EY, and we do things in consulting, tax, strategy and transactions, and audit, which we'll go into in a little bit more detail. So next slide, please. Oh, this slide has not shown up very well. But these are what we call our service lines. So we've got assurance at the top. I can't even see what that one says. That says consulting, tax, and strategy and transactions. Now, these are what we call our service lines, but you are all, I'm assuming you're all still at school, and these are basically departments. So at school, you have your English department, your drama department, languages, etc. So these are our departments that we've got apprenticeships in. So assurance, consulting, strategy and transactions, and tax. And we're going to go into a little bit more detail about each one. So what is assurance? So assurance helps businesses and clients make sure their finances are in order and healthy for employees and investors. They also look at the risks businesses have and advise on them. So hands up if you've heard of the term audit before. Yeah, so quite a few of you. So audit sits within assurance at EY. Other companies just call it audit, we call it assurance. So assurance is basically looking at financial statements and making sure that companies are, their finances are in order. And then some of the teams within assurance, so we've got audit, like I said, is in assurance, audit is in assurance, and then we've got insurance, banking and capital markets, data analytics, government and public sector, and energy. So these are what we call our sub-service lines. So remember, a service line is like a department. So assurance is the department, and the sub-service line is basically, these are basically like almost like classrooms within assurance. So you could work in any one of these teams if you did an apprenticeship with us. So audit, insurance, banking and capital markets, energy, government and public sector, and data analytics. So these are teams within assurance. So if we go on to consulting, so consultants do a lot of varied work for our clients, from creating banking apps to advising on their HR structures. So our consultants transform organizations, helping them change for the future. So consulting is quite broad at EY. It's one of our biggest departments, second after assurance, I believe. And what one consultant does in one department is very different from what a consultant does in another department. So let's look at the teams within consulting. So we've got technology consulting, business remediation, risk, anti-money laundering, technology and data analytics, which is our degree apprenticeship, which we'll talk more about a little bit later on, and intelligent automation. If you haven't heard of some of these terms before, that's absolutely fine. There is a lot more information on our website, which I'll take you through a little bit later on. So tax, what does tax mean in this context? So the tax team works with banks and insurance companies. They help clients understand tax rules better, as well as use technology to improve processes and support companies merging and buying each other. So let's say you are McDonald's and you want to merge with Burger King. The tax team will help you look at what the tax rules are and what the tax implications are if you were to merge, and how much tax you have to pay, basically. So within tax, we've got different teams. So we've got people advisory services, private tax, tax technology and transformation. Then we've got international tax and transaction services, business tax services, and global compliance and reporting. Again, a lot of these terms may be completely new to you, but again, there is a lot more information on our website. And then the last one, moving on to strategy and transactions. So this involves advising organizations on how to grow and stay competitive through buying, selling, or merging parts of their business. It's made up of a number of different areas who work closely together. So if we go back one, so tax, we were talking about companies buying or merging each other. So that's just looking at the tax implications of that. If we go over to strategy and transactions, it's about companies buying and selling or merging parts of their business. So they would look at, if again, McDonald's and Burger King were to merge, what properties do we collectively have? What do we need to keep? What do we need to sell? What does it mean for our workforce? Do we need to employ more people? Do we need to employ less people? Do we need to restructure the business? That's the difference between tax buying and selling each other and strategy and transactions companies buying and selling each other. And within strategy and transactions, we just have one team you can do an apprenticeship in, and it's in turnaround and restructuring strategy, which we'll find out a little bit more about later on. So that is basically an overview of all of the apprenticeships we have on offer at EY. But let's talk about culture. So, I'm assuming all 16, 17, maybe you're a little bit older, you are looking to enter the workforce. It's not just about a job. Nobody wants to go to work every day for a job that they hate. A lot of students are a bit worried that they will be the only 18-year-old in the whole of EY when they join. We actually take around 200 apprentices in all of our offices, not 200 each, but 200 across 17 locations, and we hire around 2,000 graduates. The average age of someone at EY is only actually 27. That may seem old if you're 16, 17, but trust me, that's not old. So we are a very young company. And in terms of what you can get involved with, we have a number of networks. So networks are basically like clubs at EY. And we've got networks that are cultural. So we've got a black network, we've got an Asian network, we've got gender networks. So our women's network is one of our biggest networks here at EY. We've got networks aimed at the LGBTQ plus community, and we've got networks aimed at disabilities as well as religious and faith groups as well. So if we could just stay on that one. So another thing that students are very worried about is they want to go to university because they want to have that university experience. Hands up if you're worried about missing out on the university experience. Your hand was up before I even finished the question. Hands up if you're worried about missing out on your university experience. Let's be honest. Yeah, so a couple of you are a little bit worried about that. We do have apprentices that have moved out with other apprentices, so they live in a shared flat. We do have apprentices that are part of the football team. We've got a netball team. I think we've got a basketball team as well. There are lots of socials at EY. So there are big socials. So there's a big one in London in the week after next. So we'll have a couple of hundred people there. And then we also have socials that the teams organise as well. So there's a budget for every team to have socials throughout the year as well. So it's not all just about work. We do value your well-being. There's access to mental health services. There's access to a doctor, but also you get to have fun as well. Some companies, they do away days. So for example, in student recruitment, we get to go away. I've been to Belfast, I've been to Birmingham, I've been to Manchester, and I'm going to Glasgow in September as well. So if you are someone that's worried about missing out on the university experience, first of all, I'd say think about what that actually means, because a lot of people use that term. What does it actually mean? But also come and speak to our apprentices. We've got 9 apprentices here who are all doing an apprenticeship, and they have an active social life as well. It's gone. So let's get into our actual opportunities here at EY. So what do we actually have on offer? If we go on to the next slide. So if you are in year 11, going on to year 12 next year, we do actually have a 1-week paid work experience called the Business Academy. If you come over to our stand and you ask for Anna has done the Business Academy. And what the Business Academy is, like I said, it's a paid 1-week work experience in an EY office closest to you, so that may be the London office, and we have 2 London offices. It gives you on-the-job experience, business skills, and work shadowing, so you get to do the work that you will do if you were on one of our apprenticeships, and you can do it in either assurance, tax, or turnaround and restructuring strategy. So hopefully you know a little bit more about what those terms mean now. And to apply, you need to be in year 12 studying 3 A-levels or 5 higher if you live in Scotland. I'm assuming none of you live in Scotland. And that includes BTECs as well. One thing with our business academy and our apprenticeships is that you can be studying any A-levels. You can be doing history, sociology, and geography. That's fine. You can be doing maths, physics, and chemistry. That's fine as well. We don't discriminate on what subjects you study. If you are studying health and social care level 3 extended diploma or level 3 extended diploma in IT, that's absolutely fine. So if you are in year 11, you can apply for this for when you are in year 12. This program happens over the summer holidays, usually in July. So for this year, the program starts next week, I believe, off the top of my head. So it's a paid 1-week work experience, and if you are successful on the Business Academy, you will be fast-tracked for one of our apprenticeships. So if you are in year 11, or maybe we've got friends who are year 11 that are going on to year 12, tell them about the Business Academy. If you Google EY Business Academy, it will come up. So if we go on to our apprenticeships, I feel like that's what most of you are here for. So we have a range of apprenticeships. We've spoken about those different teams and in a range of service lines. So assurance, consulting, tax and technology. Depending on the role and location, you could earn up to £22,500 a year. And that's a starting salary, and it does rise quite steeply. So most EY apprenticeships are 4 years long, finishing with a qualification that is equivalent to a master's. We do have a degree apprenticeship, so it's a degree in digital and technology solutions, but our apprenticeships in assurance and tax and turnaround and restructuring strategy are equivalent to a level 7, so that's equivalent to a master's. And at the end, you'll be a chartered accountant at the end of it. And you are supported throughout your apprenticeship with help from a buddy or a counsellor. So a counsellor is not, in this context, it's not a mental health counsellor, but it is someone that will help you, guide you throughout your career. If you want more information about what support is available, again, come to our stand and talk to our apprentices. So what do we look for in terms of UCAS points? Because that's what everyone wants to know. We look for at least 112 UCAS points for one of our apprenticeships, and that's equivalent to 2 Bs and a C at A level. So that's 112 UCAS points. That's what we're looking for. But I've spoken to quite a few of you already, and I know a lot of you are smart and you're going to get that, so don't worry about that at all. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. So we've got a question here. Why did I choose an apprenticeship? So I'm going to invite to the stage, we've got Kemi and we've got MZ, and they're 2 of our apprentices. If you've got any questions, now is a good time to ask them. So, Kemi? So what they're going to do is they're going to introduce themselves, what they do, and give a very brief overview of what they do. So, Kemi?
Hi, so my name's Kemi. I work in tax... I work in tax technology and transformation as a digital apprentice. So I'm on a 4-year course studying towards a specialism in data analysis. And so I studied in school maths, physics, further maths, and RS. But some of the people I work with on the same course studied history, business, and nothing to do with technology. So you can really come from any place. We learn all of the programming and skills you need for the degree whilst you're doing it. There's not really any preface for knowing any programming languages. I'm quite enjoying it. So I've worked on some AI projects, machine learning. You also have software development opportunities. And the best thing about, I think, doing an apprenticeship is if you do computer science or a lot of degrees, you're learning things from people who haven't been working in industry. And if a career is very important to you, you're learning from the people who are in industry. If I need help with uni, I often go to people in my team instead of my lecturer, because they actually know more about the latest technology sometimes than actually the lecturer does, as they haven't been working in industry. So I would say that's one of the best advantages of doing an apprenticeship, as well as the fact you finish with a lot of experience. Like one of the apprentices I know, she finished as a qualified junior software developer, whereas everybody else at her age has never actually done software development. They may know some programming languages, but you don't actually have a qualification as well as experience. So yeah, I would really recommend the technology apprenticeship. I've had a really great experience so far.
Yeah. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah? Okay. So my name is MZ. I sit in the strategy and transactions team. Had a bit of a different experience to most people. So I actually went from a very different career path. So I was doing professional football for a little while. Fortunately, didn't quite work out. So I was really unsure what to do, but I knew I wanted to go into the finance realm. I'm very loud. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I kind of looked around, asked a few people, and I realized in finance, the key message I got from everyone was to get as much experience as possible is critical in this type of industry. And I looked at an apprenticeship. I said, I'm getting both the qualification and the experience at the same time. Who here wants to earn money when they graduate? A lot of money. Who's here for the month? Yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so if I'm explaining it from a monetary perspective, why I think apprenticeships can be even better than some universities at times, I'll explain it like this. For example, you're in university for about 3 or 4 years. In that 3 or 4 years, if you're making it to the top, you're going about 36 grand worth of debt. Compare that to being an apprentice, you're getting 22 grand starting, you're going to be on at least 88 grand over the 4 years. Once you qualify as a chartered accountant, you can start around 50 grand. So you can already see a 100 grand gap between choosing university versus choosing an apprenticeship. Obviously, money is one side of the choice, but what also made me choose it was the exposure a company like EY have. The clients we've worked with, so we've worked with the likes of ASOS, we've worked with the likes of Burberry, and there's loads of other things you can do socially, as Nathan mentioned. And I think that's something that stands out as EY in general in terms of we really care about your development as well. We don't just care about the work we produce, but the stuff around work. So if there's loads of societies you want to get involved in, there's also opportunities. Even I've started to create a fancy football club society or a football. So I'm part of the football team, for example. So there's loads of things you can do, and you can even start your own initiatives. And I think that's what really makes EY unique. And one of the reasons I mainly joined the firm.
Okay, so does anyone have any questions that they want to ask? I feel like I've thrown a lot of information at you. Yes, I'm going to give you the microphone so we can all hear.
Can you outline your application process?
Yes, we can, and that's the next part of the presentation. So, great question. Okay, so for the Business Academy, remember this is for Year 11s that go into Year 12. The application process is the application form, online assessments, and telephone interview. And then for our apprenticeships, this, I won't lie, this may change next year. It may be a bit shorter, which is good. But at the moment, it is our application form, online assessments, telephone interview, an EY experience day, and then a final interview. Now, let's go into the application process in a little bit more detail. So our application form, so what can you expect? Tell us who you are and why you want to be part of EY. So our application form is pretty basic. You put in your name, your contact details, so make sure your mobile phone is correct, your mobile phone number is correct. And just a tip with any apprenticeship that you apply for, do not use your school email address because you are going to leave school at some point and it's a nightmare trying to contact candidates. Use a personal email address. Hopefully you have a sensible email address to hand. And then you have to tell us why you want to be part of EY. So it's incredibly important that you do your research into why you want to join EY. So do your research into the company. We're a very big company. There's loads of news about us. Maybe don't mention anything negative because there's some negative news that's come out about EY US, not EY UK, so we're fine. And then if we go on to the next stage, so online assessments, now these slightly vary between the different roles, but usually it's a numerical reasoning test and a job simulation. So the numerical reasoning test is kind of like a maths test, but we're not looking for mathematicians. We're looking for people that are comfortable working with numbers. You can practice these online. And if you sign up to find out more information, there is a link in the email that you receive to practice the tests online. So you can practice these online. And it's not questions like, 2x, what is 2x plus 2y? You can tell I haven't done maths for a while because that was a terrible question. But it's more questions like scenario-based questions like you get on maths GCSE. So, Martha has a train to catch in half an hour and she lives 3.5 miles from the station. Her cab is coming to pick her up in 20 minutes. Is she going to make it on time if the cab is traveling at 10 miles an hour? Questions like that. But like I said, you can practice these questions online, and it's a very good idea for you to practice before taking these tests. The other one, the job simulation, is again scenario-based questions. So it could be something like, Rob has a deadline of 5 p.m. to hand in a report, but Brenda has asked him to help out with a piece of work that she's working on. What should he do? And then you have to rank the responses of what you would do in that situation. So that's the job simulation. And then the next part, telephone interview. So with the telephone interview and the final interview, we're not looking to catch people out. We're not looking to ask strict questions. We do want people to join the company because there is a lot of work to do. So with the telephone interview, again, it's about doing the research into why you want to join EY. Obviously, the main tips are be prepared to take the call, think about your motivations, make sure you're sitting somewhere that's quiet, don't have your phone on silent so you miss the call. But know why you want to work for EY and a particular role that you've applied for. We're not expecting you to know loads about the role, but we are expecting you to know a little bit. So you can mention that in your interview. So maybe you've done some work. So for example, if you've applied for an audit role, let's say you you resell trainers on the internet, on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and we've been looking at the financial records of where you've made a profit, where you've made a loss. Mention that in your telephone interview. If your friend maybe does eyelashes or hair and you've been helping them promote their business on Instagram and you've applied for a consulting role, that's advising someone. That's what a consultant does. Mention that in your telephone interview. You all have a journey, you've all done stuff outside of school and outside of your studies that is relevant. Don't discount anything as being not relevant. So mention that in your telephone interview. Next stage. So your EY experience day. So what you can expect, it says on the screen, to engage with your peers, chat to our people, and take part in activities and assessments in an interactive experience day. What this is online. I feel like we're running out of time, so I'm going to be very quick. What this is an online Teams call. So you get invited to an online Teams call. You're with other candidates. They may be applying for apprenticeships. They may be applying for graduates. We give you a problem that you have to solve in your group, and then you have to provide solutions, and then write about how you came to those solutions. So it's all about teamwork, making sure you speak up, making sure you're heard on that EY experience day, involving other people in the conversation, and then writing about your solutions to your problems using good spelling and grammar. And then the next stage is the final interview. So usually your final interview is with a partner. A partner, if you don't know, is basically like a really big manager. They're equivalent to a head teacher. They earn loads of money. Let's be real. So usually you'll be asked to prepare and lead the discussion in advance on a choice of topics. Again, if you want more information about that, come and speak to our apprentices. And after this, there'll be a broader discussion around your interest in EY, your motivations and your strengths. So again, it's about your research, why you want to join EY, but we're not looking to catch people out. It's usually just a chat. So again, enthusiasm, energy, research, that all counts. So we've got some top tips on the board. So obviously, practice online assessments, think about the location. If you live, just a point on this, if you live very West London or very North London, we do have an office in Reading, and we do also have an office in Luton. So if you live, the far part of Enfield or the far part of Ealing or Hillingdon, think about applying to Reading and Luton. And that's a top tip as well, because we get less applications for Reading and Luton than we do for our London offices. So look into the commute. We do have flexible working where you can work from home. No one is required to be in the office 5 days a week. However, you do need to get to the office, so don't do a 3-hour commute because you're not going to want to do that. But if you live in West London and North London, think about applying to Luton and Reading. You can find the addresses of those offices on our website. Look to see how long it will take you to get there. You might have to go in 1 day a week, maybe 2 to 3 days a week. No one is doing 5 days a week in the office. So those are our top tips. And last slide, this slide has not come up properly, but this QR code, if you haven't already, if you scan this top QR code, if you can't scan it here, you can come to a stand and scan it. If you scan this one, you'll be taken to a link, you fill out a short form, and when our applications open in November, you'll be one of the first people to know, because we'll email you, and you'll automatically receive an email with more information about our apprenticeships. And if you scan the bottom one, it will take you to the EY website. And do follow us on social media. So follow us on Instagram, If you're on LinkedIn, follow us on LinkedIn. And our YouTube channel has lots of good videos from our apprentices about their experience as well. So thank you very much for speaking with us today. If you have any more questions, come and see us on our stand. Thank you very much.